Hello, hello, hello. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am so excited for today's video, guys. We are going to be ranking the Degrassi Next Generation characters. Oh gosh, I have been so hyped up for this video for quite a while, but I had to try and restrain myself because I did not watch majority of the show when I first came up with the idea of doing this sort of video. But now I'm on season 10, and I feel like I'm qualified enough to give opinions of certain characters, especially when it comes to the class of 2006, 2007, and 2008 minimum. But for those of you who don't know, Degrassi Next Generation is a teen comedy about, these kids who go to Degrassi Community School. Funny enough, it's actually part of a bigger franchise because you also have Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High, and those shows aired in the 80s and 90s. So I would just like to say all three shows are in the same universe, and there's always a tie-in from the Next Generation to Junior High and Degrassi High. For example, the main character Emma in the Next Generation, she is the daughter of Spike from Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High, which is really interesting because we do get to see Spike in the Next Generation. We even get to see Snake in the Next Generation. By the way, just like a little side note, why is it that Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High have all of these cool nicknames? Like you have Spike, Snake, Wheels, and then you watch the Next Generation, and then there's only like a handful of characters who have nicknames. Like you have Spinner, whose actual name is Gavin Mason, and then you have I guess you can count Sav, but Sav is just a shortened name of Savtage, and his little sister Ali, whose name is Alia, so they just changed it from Alia to Ali. But I mean, like, I just feel like the writers kind of had a missed opportunity. Like, where's Craig's nickname? I don't know what they could have come up with. Like, I don't know, photography head. I don't know. I'm very bad at nicknames. I just do the whole name shortening thing. But anyway, y'all are not here for that. We are here to be doing a character tier list. Also, I would just like to say that when it comes to Degrassi, I did not finish all 14 seasons of The Next Generation, nor did I finish Next Class. I've only gotten up to season 10. So basically, the season where Bianca, Drew, Adam, and even Marisol is introduced. But yeah, so characters like Maya, Zig, Grace, and Zoe, I can't really comment on because I don't know fully. I didn't experience their season fully. So I can only really go up to the class of 2013 and 2014. And the class of 2014 is the one with Ali, Jenna, and Claire. So I feel like I've seen enough of Ali, Jenna, and Claire to give a good judgment on their character, at least them at this point, even though they have not yet graduated. But what I can say is I can definitely give judgment on those who have graduated in 2006 and 2007. So that would be Paige, Marco, Ellie, those characters. And then, of course, Emma, Manny, and Liberty, who graduated in 2007. Alright. But before we do continue, I would just like to introduce or reintroduce myself. Hi, I'm Sassy Critic. I talk about films, television shows, and everything around it, so if that's your thing, hop on for the ride. I usually do long film discussions along with short film reviews, so whichever format you are more interested in, this is definitely the channel for you. I post long videos every Friday, and I post the shorter film reviews every single day. So if that is your thing, definitely subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you do not miss a video. Comment down below what you think of Degrassi. Do you think that we should get another installment of the show, or do you think that they should have just ended it at next class? I would love to know your opinions down below. So, who is your favorite character in Degrassi Next Generation? I would also love to find out. But I think that is enough said in the intro. Let's rank the characters of Degrassi. Okay, so here we got the tier list. I'm just gonna go through like each category and then you can take it from there. So we have best of the best. These are characters that in my perspective, like, they are just flawless, no notes. They are like perfect in terms of how I love them, and in terms of like, they are my favorite. I don't think there was any moment in time in which when I loved these characters where I like doubted me loving them. Like, these are people that are probably my top fave, my favorite characters in the entire show. Right, then you have the great tier. These are characters where I loved for the most part, but let's just say their character changes along the way, or maybe they do something that changes my opinion of them, but I still will like overall really like their character. And yeah, at the end of the day, like, really end up enjoying the character. So these would be the great in the great tier. Then you have I Will Like You for Now. These are characters where my opinion of them changes. Like, one day I like them, one day I don't like them. It could be either way, and therefore I put them in this category. Then we have Why Just Why. These are characters that for the most part I dislike. I do not like them, and honestly, they're terrible. These are the characters I just do not like. Maybe they have one or two characteristic traits that I like in a character, or maybe they did that one thing. Maybe they did one or two things that um, that I kind of liked for their character, but for the most part, I did not like them. And then there's Out of Sight, Out of Mind. These characters are characters that I do not like. I just do not like them. I also just want to say that I'm only on season 10. I'm currently on episode 18 or 19. So when it comes to characters like Emma, Manny, Liberty, I know fully what my opinion of them are. But when it comes to your characters that are still currently on season 10, they still need to graduate, like Holly J, Sav, Anya, my opinion of them can be changed over time, and I think that's fine for the most part, because they haven't graduated yet. So just please be aware that when I'm ranking these characters, it's because I'm ranking them up until the point of season 10, episode 19. When I finish Degrassi Next Generation and Next Class, then I'll be able to do a full-on ranking video. I got this from the Tier Maker website, and I did have to add some people to the list because the closest that I found was Degrassi Next Generation characters season 5. So I had to add some more characters that were up to at least season 10. But right, I think we've gone through a lot. I also just want to say there are going to be several trigger warnings throughout this video, so please be aware of that. What I will say is I will also put a trigger warning before I go into detail with certain characters. Degrassi was a show that, even though it was released in the early 2000s, it really was a show ahead of its time, but it also goes into gritty details of teenage lives. So I just want you to be aware of that. But with that said, there are going to be spoilers because I am going to go into some of the plot. So yeah, just please be aware of that. Um, but I think with that said, let's just dive into it. I can't tell which character this is supposed to be. The arm is in front of the face. I think I'm just gonna put this at the end. It's fine. Okay, first up we have Allie. I found Allie to be quite annoying in the beginning when she and Sav joined Degrassi Community School. Over time, I ended up liking her, I do have to say. And I think the reason why I found her annoying is because she was just really seen as being this boy crazy person. And that's it. Like, that was her one characteristic trait. But like over time I really like Allie. Like she's pretty cool as a character. So I think I'm gonna put her by grade tier. I can't really see her as doing something wrong at this point. Again, like I'm only on season 10, episode 19. I think Allie and Allie, Claire, those characters, I think they only graduated in season 12 or maybe season 13 or 14. So yeah, I just want to keep that in mind. Next we have Manny, girl. Now this is a difficult one. I feel like I can compare Allie and Manny together because they both were kind of. And here's the thing, I guess the slight difference. Allie was just kind of introduced as this boy crazy kind of girl, but she was also really intelligent. But with Manny, Manny was introduced as just being the the cute and adorable sidekick slash best friend to Emma. But by season 3, she wants to dress up and everything. She has had her relationship with Craig and stuff like that. So she has already been like an established character of that sort of development. And the reason why she does that is because she went on one date with Craig, and Craig kind of just saw her as this little girl, and he compared her to his little sister Angie. And fun fact, so Manny is played by Cassie Steele, and Angie is played by Alex Steele. And they are sisters in real life. So when they made that comment in the show, like I was like, oh, that's actually interesting. But with Manny, I did get like mad at her, like genuinely mad when she was willing to get with Craig, even though he was with Ashley. I know it's not entirely her fault, but still, I was still mad. But I think at the end of the day, like my opinion of Manny changes over time. Like I know by the time she graduated, I was still like pretty mad at her. But now my opinion of her is mostly positive. I feel like I'm sort of betraying the fandom by saying that I like Allie more than Manny, because I do feel like Manny is more of an iconic character in Degrassi. This is a very difficult. This is a very difficult decision for me. This is just based on my opinion, though. I don't think I'll ever I don't think I'll ever dislike Manny again. But I don't know. I just she doesn't deserve to go into the grade tier, in my opinion. Like, Yeah. I'm gonna put it by I will like you for now. I feel so bad, but I don't care. Okay, Ashley. So Ashley is the main character from like the grade 8 class. She comes from the class of 2006. She dates Jimmy. So ironic because Jimmy's right next to her. But she starts off dating Jimmy in grade 8. She wants to be student council president. I'm trying to see. I know she's not that great of a friend, especially to Terry. She's very selfish in that regard. But I don't hate her. I don't hate Ashley. I can't come to terms to hating her. I'm let's put it by why, just why. Because there's a part in the show where she kind of goes up to season 4, season 5, and then she moves to England, and I think she lives with her dad and her dad's partner. But then she comes back to Degrassi, and when she comes back to Degrassi, I'm just like, girl, why are you here? Like, I'm sorry. I was so over Ashley. I was like, I've moved on. We all moved on. Why are you back? But yeah, that was when I really got annoyed at Ashley's character. But yeah, on top of that, she was just like a really bad friend. So I'm gonna put her under why, just why. There were little things that I did like about her, but that was just wild. Next we have Jimmy. No, 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 not great yet. We're gonna put him by I will like you for now. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Jimmy, for me, I know he was a main character. He was really sweet to Hazel until he kind of emotionally cheated on her with Ellie. He does go through the most. He's one of those characters that goes through the most, and this is where we're going to put up our first of many trigger warnings. So, trigger warning for school violence and mentioning of a pew pew. Alright, so we all know the Time Stood Still episode, right? Season 4. It's the episode where Rick brings a pew pew to school. And we are going to get to Rick's story in a while, but all we need to know is that at this point, Rick brings a pew pew to school and uses it on Jimmy. And Jimmy survives, but he ends up having to use a wheelchair. Aubrey Graham's performance, and I'm going to call him Aubrey Graham because that was what was on the credit sheet back then. He wasn't known as Drake yet. Aubrey Graham really did a really good performance as Jimmy. But I think Jimmy as a whole, he didn't really stand out to me all that much as a character. So I'm going to put him by I Will Like You for now, next to Manny. Next we have Hazel. So this is where I'm going to fault this on the writers. Because Hazel Arden is probably one of those characters that had the most potential in terms of the storyline, and then the writers didn't really do much with it. She had like what 1 or 2 episodes that really centered on her. Everything else she was kind of just known as Paige's best friend and Jimmy's girlfriend. And I think that's really sad because I liked Hazel. I really did like Hazel from the beginning, and I wanted to see that sort of the same development that Paige got. I wanted to see out of Hazel, because you could see that while Paige was being the popular girl that was sort of mean to people like Ashley and to her friends, Hazel was more, in my opinion, oh gosh, we're gonna have to talk about that episode at some point, but she was, for the most part, you could see she had a lot of potential in terms of character growth, and the writers didn't really use that. And it's really unfortunate because I'm gonna have to put her under why, just why, but I'm putting her in front of Ashley because honestly she's a better character than Ashley. But she had the most potential in my opinion, and it's just a shame that the writers didn't really use her. So I'm putting her under why, just why, because the writers didn't give me enough, didn't give the audience enough to really give her a higher ranking. I think if I had to put her by best of the best, it wouldn't be fair either. So yeah, We have Marco. Love this guy. Love this guy. One of my favorite characters of the show. I'm trying to think. Was there a moment on the show where I felt annoyed by Marco? The only time, and this the only time I didn't really like Marco was when he would date Dylan. But then there was the gambling subplot when he was in college, and I was just like, this is so stupid. You'll see that as we go on, when it comes to the characters that they show in college, my like for them just kind of goes on a decline because their characters just do a 180. But Marco. I love him. I adore him. I feel like if he existed in my world, we'd be besties. So I'm gonna put him by great tier. I'm still annoyed at the gambling subplot and the fact that he kept on going back to Dylan. Also, Marco is the first openly gay character on the show, and yeah, I just love Marco. He starts off with as like a background character, and then he becomes a main character by midway through season 2. Him and Ellie start a relationship, but it's clearly like a bearded relationship. So he's gay, she's straight, and she's sort of used to make it look as if he's straight, if that makes sense. So yeah, I love Marco. I loved his storylines. So yeah, great tier. I just don't like the college stuff. And also, I would just like to say, I liked him with Dylan in the beginning, but I hate this thing where they keep on breaking up and getting back together, breaking up and getting back together. Like, I'm so tired of it. Like, no. You're either together or you're not together. That's it. Okay, next we have Jay. I hated Jay in the beginning, like, truly hated. I hated him and Alex. Yes. Okay, I don't know if my face is covering Alex, but anyway. Here we go. We have Jay. I end up really liking Jay by the end of the show. Like, by the end of his run, I end up liking him. Like, he really grows as a character. He becomes best friends with Spinner. He ends up in a relationship with Manny, and they end up being a really cute, compelling couple. I was like, how did I hate this guy and then end up just really loving him? And what I never understood was that, like, by the time, so before I got to the part where they graduated, I would watch a lot of videos on Degrassi, which would obviously have a lot of spoilers. So I'm aware to a certain extent of what happens to certain characters in the future, like even beyond season 10, 11, 12, and 13 and 14, and even part of next class. So I technically do know what happens to some of the characters. I'm just choosing not to use the judgment of what happens in the future seasons of how I feel about these characters now. And the reason why I'm saying that is because characters that I absolutely hate at this point, I could end up loving. And I say that because I hated Jay, and I ended up loving him by the end of his run. He's not an upfront iconic character, but he is iconic in his own right. Is he better than Marco and Ali? No. Is he better? Do I love him better than I love Ali? Probably not. Because right now I actually genuinely love Ali, where I'm like, girl. Ellie. Eleanor. Okay, I'll stop. Okay. We're going to put in our second trigger warning because we're going to have to be talking about a storyline that we came across in either season 3 or season 4. Season 4 was really good, by the way. It's literally my favorite season. But Ellie's introduced as a goth girl. She dates Marco, but then she finds out he's gay, so they kind of just keep their relationship up as a front. she's iconic in her style. She becomes best friends with Ashley. She kind of influences Ashley to become gothic, which is that was a fun time. Um, I love her. I love Ellie. I love Ellie. Okay, so let's get serious. So Ellie goes through a very dark storyline. So I'm gonna put a trigger warning up for self-harm, cool, and also alcoholism. So Ellie's father is part of the army. He gets called, so he has to go. So she's left with her mother. Her mother drinks very often and will be intoxicated in the house, leaving Ellie to fend for herself as a 14 or 15-year-old. Ellie doesn't know how to control things, so she ends up. It starts off with her like using a rubber band to slap against her wrist, but it soon escalates to her cutting herself on her arm. Paige catches her in the bathroom with the cuts, and this is where my opinion of Paige changes, but we'll get to Paige when we get to Paige. And so Paige sort of helps Ellie. In season 4, Ellie and Sean start dating. They kind of get interested in each other at the Breakfast Club episode, which is cute. I feel like Sean and Ellie are better than Sean and Emma, if I'm being 100% honest. He should have came back for Ellie. But anyway, so they meet, and then Ellie finds a way to move out of her mother's house, and she ends up living with Sean. Ellie, in my opinion, is a really great character until she gets to college. And you'll see a pattern that when I talk about how these people end up in college or after they finish high school, I sort of just dislike some of the characters. But I do just have to say, for majority of the time, I liked Ellie. I hated the fact that she was chasing after Craig. So Craig and Ellie were in a band, and Craig brought along Manny to play the tambourine, and Ellie hated it. I shouldn't be laughing. And she ends up throwing one of her drumsticks at Manny. In all fairness, I was siding with Ellie that day. I'm sorry, I was not siding with Manny. But anyway, for the most part, Ellie's iconic. She's one of my favorite characters. I love how complex she was. Very interesting as a character. And she was a very much fleshed out character with a lot of personality. And I think therefore she's going to end up on the great tier. We have Adam. So the episode that I just finished, like literally finished this morning, was the episode where... Okay. And that the trigger warning for self-harm is still up for Adam, by the way. So Adam is the first transgender student on Degrassi. And this is very much ahead of its time, because Degrassi came out in the early 2000s. Like Degrassi Next Generation actually came out in 1999. Season 10, we get introduced to Adam Torres. Adam Torres is a female to male trans character. There's a storyline that I just finished, and honestly I was fighting back the tears, where Adam and his brother Drew's grandmother visits town. And Adam's mom asks Adam to dress up like Gracie, and Gracie is Adam's dead name. So essentially, Adam's mother is asking Adam not to be Adam. And that was so heartbreaking to watch. Um, so that happens. And it becomes kind of clear that Adam's mother misses Gracie. Misses Adam before the transition. I would just like to say I'm not an expert in this, but I am trying my best to be the most respectable when it comes to this topic. And when I was watching the episode, basically what happens is after Adam had that conversation with his mother, and I think it's very clear that his mother makes mistakes now and then, like says, "Oh, Grace," instead of Adam, or will say she instead of he. And I think that is a relatable. I think that's a relatable thing. I know one of the Marlon, not of the Marlon. I know one of the Wayne brothers. He has a trans child. I can't remember if it was female to male or if they were male to female. But there was a podcast interview where Marlon Wayans said that he made a mistake on the pronouns, but he corrects himself. And he was saying that he had to process it as a parent. So I felt like the portrayal of Adam Torres with that sort of episode, I feel like there was a level of relatability maybe to a lot of trans kids, but also to a lot of parents of trans kids. My heart broke when Adam dressed up like Grace and went to school and said, "No, I'm Grace Torres." And I'm just like, no. I was literally like, no, don't. You're Adam. You're not Grace. You're Adam. And it was just so heartbreaking to watch. And I literally asked this question out loud. Like, would you, as a parent, want, not you, but like, would Adam's mom want to have Gracie, who would be her daughter, and live the life of a girl, but be miserable and harming herself to the point of misery, to the point where they need therapy? Or would you want to have a son who is living their best life and is happy as a boy? That's what I asked. And by the end of the episode, they burn Grace's clothes, sort of symbolizing that Adam is going to stay Adam. And again, I'm not an expert in this, but I'm respectful. I'm going to be respectful because I think at the end of the day, you want to think of a child's safety. And I just found it really heartbreaking when Adam was harming himself. So I like Adam as a character. There's no he doesn't do anything, in my opinion, that's bad. There's a moment where he flirts with Bianca, and I don't like Bianca, so maybe his judgment in girls is not the best. So, not great here. I'm gonna put him by I will like you for now. I'm gonna put you by I will like you for now. This is not his fault at all. It's just that I'm very early on, and there's only been like a couple of episodes with Adam in. One being very impactful. So I'm gonna put him by I will like you for now. I'm pretty sure by the end of the time I'm gonna probably want to put him up by best of the best. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, this is Riley. I had to add his picture to this, but I don't know why I cut off his face. Anyway, out of sight, out of mind. So Riley's story is he realizes he's gay, but he has a lot of internal homophobia, and he's a bully, and I don't like him. There we go. Next up we have Dylan. I did like him in the early season, but the more his relationship with Marco played out, no, I did not like. So I'm actually gonna put him by Y, just Y. I'm gonna put him at the end. I dislike him more than I dislike Ashley. Paige is probably gonna go at the end of Great Tier. She becomes one of Degrassi's most iconic characters. I kind of like her more than. Do I like her more than Allie? That's the question. I really like Allie. You know what? Allie annoyed me, but the reason why I disliked Paige was for legitimate reasons. So, yeah, we're gonna put Paige there. We have a lot to talk about when it comes to Paige, and I don't want to go through every single storyline. If you want to see what these characters have gone through in their class or see who's the superior character, may I recommend subscribing and watching that guy's videos. I'm gonna see if I can't link some of his videos up in the description of this video, just so that you guys can also see. I don't want to go into great detail of each person's story. But just know, I did not like Paige. Like, I hated her to my core. But around season 4, she really did become iconic, and I like the character development. She's still mean to her friends, but she sort of goes through something that is really devastating. So for that, I'm gonna put it by the Great Tier. Next, we have Anya. There's not a moment where I dislike Anya, so I'm gonna put it by best of the best. Don't judge me. Anya McPherson. So the episode that I'm watching now, okay, she does kind of destroy a project that she was doing, so maybe I should put it by a Great Tier, but I'm gonna put it. I don't like her more than I like Allie. There we go. We're gonna put it next to Paige. So Anya is more of the passive girl in high school. She becomes best friend with Holly J. Sinclair, but she can't stand up for herself. She ends up dating Sav, but when she finds out that Sav is in this sort of situation where he has an arranged marriage in the future, so she just wants the relationship to be more public, to be like more accepting by his parents. But it doesn't work out, and she ends up standing up for herself, and she breaks up with Sav for the last time in season 10. I do have to say, for the most part, they were a cute couple, but I think if it wasn't for Sav's situation, they probably would still be dating. Next, we have Bianca. Is this Bianca? Yeah, that's Bianca. We're gonna put her by worst of... yeah, out of sight, out of mind. You know what? I actually dislike Riley more than I dislike Bianca, but I dislike Bianca. So, in the episode that I watched this morning, Bianca's a bully. Bianca's a bully. Bianca kind of represents the girls that I just did not like at all. And so she, when she finds out that Adam is an FTM trans person, she makes fun of him and calls him a slur. So no, I don't like Bianca. I really hope she's not gonna be one of those characters where, like with Paige, where it's like, I swear I will not like you, and then by the end of like season 14 I'll be like, oh, I kinda like Bianca. But like, no, I feel like there's a certain line she crossed, and this was it. There's nothing really likable about this character. I do sort of know what's gonna happen to her in the future. I just feel like I just don't like this character. Next we have Emma. Emma's going to Y, just Y. Yeah, she can be next to Ashley. The two of them have a lot in common. They are both not really great friends. She is selfish. This is a difficult one for me. But she's gonna stay in Y, just Y. Okay, so this is what I want to say. I know the fandom does not like Emma. I, for the most part, do not like Emma. Right? will say is, Emma has moments where she kind of really stands up for herself. She's kind of known as being this sort of social justice sort of girl, standing up for things at school. But she's not a really great friend to Manny. She's very judgmental of Manny. So that's why I put her by Y, just Y. But she does have moments where I kind of recognize, like, oh, okay, yeah, she has really cool moments. Next we have Claire. I love Claire. So she's kind of like at the end. Like I liked her more than Paige. No, do I like her more than Paige? No. Sorry, I'm gonna move Anya. There we go. I'm gonna put Claire there. Right. Shantae I'm putting by... Shane, wait. I just realized something. I'm not gonna put Hazel by Y, just Y. I'm gonna put Hazel by I Will Like You For Now. And that's just because of the writers. And then Shantae is also gonna be... I'm gonna put Adam second. There we go. So Shantae. Shantae appears in season 4 of Degrassi, sort of as a background character. She only really becomes a main character in season 7 or season 8 onwards. And this is the problem that I have. She only graduates along with the class with Sav, Anya, Holly J, so on and so forth. In my opinion, she should have graduated with Danny's class, with Danny, Peter, and Derek. But no, she graduates with Holly, and that doesn't make sense to me, but okay, fine. And technically she should have graduated with Paige's class, because I think at one point she was in Paige's class. She was in the same friend group as Paige at some point, but yeah, I don't know. Darcy, okay. Darcy, I'm going to put as... Darcy sort of annoys me for the most part of the show. In season 7, she goes through something tragic, and I feel sorry for her, but I don't like her. See, that's the difference. I do have to say I like her more than Emma. She ends up in a relationship with Spinner, but she's very judgmental as well, but in a different way. So I'm gonna put her. There we go. Next we have Danny. Danny, I got irritated by. He's Liberty's younger brother. Oh, it's really fitting that he's on top here. Liberty's younger brother. I'm gonna put him by I Will Like You For Now, and that's literally because he does become a better character near the end. I liked him around the time that he started dating Leia, so I'll say that. Alex. So Alex and Paige end up dating at some point. They end up in a really cute relationship, but it's very clear that Alex likes Paige more. But Alex started off as a character who was dating Jay. A bully, if you will. She does get a lot of character development, and that's what I like about Alex's character. So I'm gonna put her by I Will Like You For Now. I didn't like her. I didn't love her by the end, but I did like her by the end, and I think that's good enough. I'm sorry, Hazel. You're just kind of going near the end. Connor. I love Connor. He has these moments where I'm literally annoyed at him, but I don't care. I'm gonna put him by I Will Like You For Now, but I'm gonna put you... I don't think he deserves hate, so yeah, we're gonna do that. No, I don't like him more than I like Alex, and I don't like him more than I like Hazel. Okay, there we go. Toby, I'm gonna have to put I Will Like For Now, and I'm gonna put him next to Manny. And this is because he only gets like one storyline. They should have given him more storylines, to be honest. Next we have Craig. I want to put Craig by best of the best. He's my favorite character. Like, my dude, favorite character. There are moments where I don't like him, and that's when he cheats on Ashley with Manny, and then he can't decide who he wants to date, so then he kind of just uses the both of them. But I like Craig. What I will say, when it comes to characters I like and my favorite characters, you don't have to be this goody two shoes perfect character, no flaws sort of vibe. And to prove it to y'all, you can literally look at these characters and literally bring out a flaw in them. But what I will say is there needs to be character depth and personality and character growth. And Craig is just a beautifully written character. A really well done written character. I will have to say, whoever came up with his concept and his storylines, like, well done to you. I doubt you're going to be watching this video up until this point, but well done to you. I really, really, really like Craig. I really like Craig. I just think he is a pretty cool character. Alright, so I think, and I'm gonna go into his storyline for a bit. So Craig got introduced in season 2, episode 1. He is the older sister to Angela or Angie, and he is the stepson of Joey Jeremiah. Joey Jeremiah, by the way, is a character from Degrassi Junior High and Degrassi High. So Craig likes photography. He likes to, he's in a band, that sort of thing, and it's really cool. But we find out that Craig is being abused by. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna have to put another trigger warning up for mental health / mental illness and abuse. But we find out that Craig is being abused by his father. And he really does go through the cycle of abuse, because he gets abused by his father, and then his father will like give him a gift to sort of make up for the damage, and Craig would be full of bruises and then abuse Craig again, to the point where Craig steps at on a railroad, and if it wasn't for Sean, things would have taken a turn for the worse. He does end up living with Joey Jeremiah. He is the one that finds he finds Jimmy on the floor at the Time Stand Still episode, and it's very clear that he is affected by it for the rest of the show. He's also the first character on Degrassi Next Generation who is diagnosed with bipolar. And what I liked about this storyline is the fact that there were hints of him having episodes of mania, followed by episodes of depression. So by the time that we get to season 4 and he gets diagnosed with bipolar, you see like, oh, then you kind of backtrack, like, okay, this is where we could see along the way. And that's why I'm saying, like, I think out of all of the characters, they really did write Craig the best. And I think because of that complexity, again, he's not a perfect character. He cheats on Ashley constantly. With Manny, he can't decide what girl to date, right? He has his flaws. He has moments, like there was an episode where he wrecked a hotel room after Ashley said that I think Craig proposed and Ashley said no, and he got mad and he ended up trashing the hotel room. He really is the best character. I know I reserved the best of the best for characters that there weren't moments where I didn't dislike them, but I'm gonna rethink it, and I'm gonna make Craig an exception, and I'm gonna put him by best of the best. Yeah, I don't think. Okay, I've got like 4 seasons of Degrassi to go. But I can kind of say with confidence, I don't think there'll ever be a character that I like more than Craig. Alright, next we have JT. JT I'm going to put by I Will Like You For Now. The reason why I'm putting him by I Will Like You For Now is because I know he's known as being this funny person, this funny kid at school, but he wasn't that great of a friend to Toby. I know a lot of people like to remember JT, and by the way, trigger warning for violence, when he was unalived by a student at Lakers. But just know, by the way, I did not like that storyline at all. Like, I hated the fact that they all of a sudden just unalived JT, especially when he was about to get back together with Liberty. But yeah, I can miss a character, but also be honest about that character, and therefore I'm gonna put him by I Will Like You For Now. Next we have, this is Danny. Okay, well we have already ranked Danny, so Danny be gone. I didn't realize that Danny and Derek were already on here, but I already got character images, so it's okay. Next we have Peter. Peter is going to Out of Sight, Out of Mind. I know a lot of Peter fans are going to come at me and say that he's really gone through a lot of character development, and he has. But for those of you who may have not watched the show, or maybe have not watched up until a particular season, season 5, trigger warning. Yeah, we're going to put trigger warning up. So there's a party, and at this party, Peter takes out his camera, and Manny is clearly intoxicated. And I'm not going to quote directly, but let's just say there's a scene where Peter takes out his camera of Manny and says, "You can sell this for $1 million because I'm going to be famous." And as she says that, she's undoing her shirt. And Peter takes a video of that and distributes that to the rest of the school. I know he becomes a good boyfriend to Darcy. I know he becomes a good boyfriend to Mia. But I just I can't get past that. Which also begs the question, oh yeah, by the way, he does end up being very supportive of Emma, which is very messed up because Emma and Manny are best friends, but whoa, okay. I do ask the question, why would a girl at school want to date someone like Peter when Peter took a video of someone that was clearly intoxicated? By the way, I'm not victim blaming Manny here. I'm not blaming her for the situation that she was in. She was clearly taken advantage of. It was all Peter's fault. And afterwards, honestly, I wish they sort of expelled Peter, or maybe they could have done a trial or something like that, but we don't get that justice. We don't. He's still at Degrassi. I wouldn't want to date Peter. That kind of changes my perspective of Darcy and Mia. Not gonna lie. Because it's like, why would you date a guy who... With Mia, she wasn't at the school yet. So, she won't know. But Darcy was at the school. So, Darcy would know about it. So, that's my thing. Why would Darcy want to date someone like Peter? I'm sorry. Peter is probably, like, between him and Riley, the two of them can be at the bottom of my list. I just don't know. Then we have Dave. Dave goes to why, just why, but like near the beginning of why, just why. There we go. So Dave is friends with Wesley and Connor. I know he ends up dating Allie, but that's later on, and I'm not at that point of the show yet. But he's kind of stalking Miss O, which is so weird. But I kind of sympathize with him. Don't hate me. I kind of sympathize with Dave because he really is trying to be more popular, and that's something that is relatable. Declan! Oh, such a sweetheart. Declan goes on the great tier. I don't like him more than Allie. Do I like him more than Paige? No. He's sort of in the same tier as Anya. There we go. Derek. Out of sight, out of mind. He's probably one of the worst characters in the show. I'm trying to figure out who this person in blue is. I really am trying. Hold on, I have to try and figure out who this person is. Oh, it's Drew. It's Drew. Okay. Drew Torres. He defends Adam, which is good. He also makes some of the mistakes of using the wrong pronouns and the wrong name. But I think overall he's a cool character. I like him. The more I see him on screen, the more I see him with these storylines. It's pretty interesting. So I'm going to put him... I know what happens with Bianca, but I'm trying not to use the judgment now. If I use the judgment of the Bianca thing, I'm gonna put in my I will like you for now. But we're not at that part yet, so I'm gonna put him just behind. I still like Anya more than I like Drew. There we go. Next we have Spinner. Spinner's iconic. Yeah, he's terrible. He kind of is the... He kind of leads to the whole Pew Pew incident. Because of the prank at school. But I do have to say, he does become a better character. I like his relationship with Jane. He ends up in a band with Sav, so gets points for me. I think maybe, to be fair, I'm gonna say I will like you for now. Eli, I love Eli. I'm sorry, like, great first impression. I love how he's the emo kid. He reminds me a lot of Craig. And he has a budding relationship with Claire. At this point, I don't think they're officially dating, but they are definitely close. But I love them. I love this. I love Eli and Claire's budding relationship. I like Eli. I really like Eli. So definitely one of my favorites. I do have to say, definitely one of my favorites. Liberty gets best of the best. I don't think there was a... I'm gonna put her... okay, there we go. Liberty's one of those characters where there wasn't a single moment where I disliked her. It's that simple. Fiona Coyne. She irritates me sometimes, not gonna lie. But you understand the loneliness and pain that she's going through. So I'm gonna put her by I will like you for now. Next we have Holly. Ooh, girl! Talk about a character I swore I was not gonna like. I did not like Anya, especially... Not Anya, sorry. I did not like Holly J, especially for how she treated Anya. But she ends up being one of the most iconic characters I've ever seen. And her growth, like jaw drop, it doesn't deserve to be best of the best, but I kind of feel like putting her there. She really does become one of the best characters in Degrassi. I'm gonna put her next to Ellie. She deserves to be next to Ellie. Sorry, Marco. You know what? I get more excited for... What am I talking about? Why am I putting Eli by great tier? I'm gonna put him by best of the best. There wasn't a moment where I disliked him. Not at this point of the show anyway. Next we have Jane. Jane's okay. I don't dislike her. I don't love her. There's a moment where she cheats on Spinner with Declan, of all people. So I'm gonna say by the end of I Will Like You for now. Jenna Middleton. So I have a genuine question for the fandom right now. Are we supposed to love Jenna or hate Jenna? Because I don't like her for the most part. There's an episode... Okay, now we're gonna have to put another spoiler up. Not a spoiler, trigger warning for fat phobia. So there's an episode where I kind of feel sorry for Jenna because she kind of goes through this internalized fat phobia because she's gained a little bit of weight, but she doesn't realize that she's pregnant with Casey's child. But for the most part, she steals Casey away from Claire. And I hate that. I hate that. I did not like Jenna when she did that. She was a bit perky in the beginning, which I didn't like nor dislike. I was just like, okay, this girl's a bit too chirpy for high school. But I don't really like Jenna, so I'm going to put her by Y. Just Y. Next we have Johnny DeMarco. I know people don't like this character. He changes and he grows. The problem that I have with Johnny is the fact that we don't see a lot of episodes with him in it. Like there is that storyline where he witnesses JT being unalived. And then there's the moment where his relationship with Ali, like he's a scene, no gosh. Okay, but they're still high school students, but basically he dates Ali. He does pretend that he does not have his V card. This is a tough one for me because he does have a lot of character growth, and I thought maybe Degrassi was going to give him more time to really see that character growth, but it kind of just ends when he ends his relationship with Ali. So I wish I can put him by great tier, but I'm gonna have to put him by I Will Like You for now. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Next is Mia. So I liked Mia in the beginning because I genuinely love Nina Dobrev. Near the end when by the way, she ends up dating Peter. Their relationship I kind of get bored of. I got so bored by their relationship. I did not care. And I hated the fact that a lot of the episodes had the two of them in it. I'm like, I don't want to see this. But Mia is a kind of cool character. She's a single mom. She ended up being pregnant at 13. She tries her best to be a really good mother to her child. But yeah, that's about it, I guess. She does end up modeling. And I found that to be really cool. So I'm going to put it by I Will Like Her for now. I'm going to like it for now. I don't know if I like her more than I like her more than Fiona. Let's do that. Here we go. Next we have Sav. Sav is a great character. I wish we had more screen time with him. I'm not done with him because I know he graduates in season 11. I'm currently on season 10. So that obviously gives him enough time. I'm at the point where he's secretly dating Holly J. And they actually have a really cute, compelling relationship. The challenge with Sav is that he gets pressured a lot by his parents to be really great, to have good grades, to be well balanced, and he feels a lot of pressure by that, so he messes up sometimes, and I find that to be really relatable. It's also important to note that he's a first generation of I don't know what you call it, but basically his parents are from India, he is Indian, and he's the first generation from his family to go to a Canadian school, like him and Ali. So it's like he's sort of like that first generation. So there's a lot of pressures onto that. But I do wish that they maybe have done more with his character. I did really like him when he was in the band. It was kind of weird when they did that bunny, the bunny faces. I think I'm gonna put him next to Holly J. Yeah, let me put you by your girlfriend. I feel like with Sav, it should have been best of the best, but I don't really feel like the writers are going in that direction. So we've already ranked Derek already. I don't know who this person is. I really don't know who this person is. I'm gonna put him at the end. Terry! Best of the best. Yep, best of the best. No notes. She's one of my favorite characters. We're just gonna... Yep, there we go. But Greg is still my favorite character. They underutilized Terry so much, but she was the one character I really could relate to a lot, so therefore she's going there. Love Terry, no notes. Next we have Leia. I was about to say Layla, but Leia. She's a character that I wanted her to be my favorite. Really chilled. She's not the smartest, but you know, she's just your everyday high school student. I feel like the writers underutilize her a lot. She's just kind of known for being in a relationship with Danny at some point. So I think she's gonna be my I will like you for now. But I definitely like her more than I like her. No, I like her more than Fiona. I'll say that. There we go. Rick. Out of sight, out of mind. Okay. We're going to put another trigger warning up because we're going to go into details about this. So, Rick is introduced in season 3. He has a crush on Terry. They start dating, but it soon turns out that the relationship becomes abusive. He slaps her, and at some point they broke up, but then they got back together. And when they went on a trip, you know, with Terry's friends, you know, Paige, Hazel, Spinner, that sort of thing, he pushes her and Terry knocks her head up against a rock. So Terry ends up in a coma and transfers schools. And Rick gets to stay at Degrassi because I think the reason why they let him stay at Degrassi was because because the incident didn't happen on school premises, which I'm sorry, that's not a good reason. They should have at least suspended Rick, but fine. When Rick comes back to Degrassi, he gets bullied by the school. He's not very well received because of what he did to Terry. So the only person that really befriends Rick is Toby, because Toby is kind of neglected by JT at this point. So Rick and Toby are friends. And then Rick ends up joining this general knowledge club along with Emma, Jimmy, and Toby. At the competition, though, Spinner and Jay plan to sabotage him. So Rick was asked to answer a final question for the team. And when that happened, they threw substances on Rick. And, you know, you can see Rick is very mad. And so okay. So then Rick kind of goes home because the competition was, you know, during the day. So he goes home and he gets his dad's pew-pew and he comes back to the school. He's thinking of using it against Paige, but then Paige apologizes to Rick and says that he didn't deserve that. and she's sorry. So Rick doesn't use it on Paige. He goes to the bathroom and Jay realizes that he's in the toilet, and Jay kind of makes it sound as if Jimmy was the one that did the prank. So Rick is fully convinced that Jimmy did the prank instead of Jay and Spinner. He then walks out with the pew pew, and Jimmy sees the pew pew, runs away, and then he gets hit in the back. So Jimmy gets hit in the back by Rick's pew pew. Well, Rick's dad's pew pew. Emma is trying to be sympathetic towards Rick, and Rick kisses Emma because he thinks that she's being nice to him to be in a relationship with him, but that's clearly not the case. And she steps back. He has the pew pew. Sean sees this, and the two sort of fight with the pew pew, and then next thing you hear is the pew pew go off. And Rick is unalived accidentally by Sean. Craig sees Jimmy on the floor being, hit with the pew pew. And that's it. All of the characters that are involved in this particular episode, including Craig, Sean, and Emma, what I liked about that episode in particular is the fact that they still are affected by it many episodes later. It wasn't a one and done deal. What I liked about the season 4, the build up to season 4, is that I think it clearly shows you that you can, or a character in a TV show can be both a perpetrator and a victim. Rick is clearly a perpetrator because he was an abusive boyfriend to Terry, and because he brought a pew pew to school and he intended to use it. But he's also a victim of bullying. And I'm not trying to lighten and say oh, he deserved the bullying or whatever. It's the facts are he was a perpetrator and he was a victim. That's just my opinion of it. I just don't like Rick, and clearly so. There was not one characteristic that I could see in Rick where I'm like, maybe I can like him. But that wasn't the case. No. So anyway, here we got the tier. We have Craig on top. Followed by Terry and Liberty and Eli. Probably my top 4 characters. Now that I think about it, yeah, we're gonna move Ellie up, and Allie, and Holly J. There we go. But I'm gonna move. There we go. That means, there we go. I know, but this is what happens. So best of the best, we have Craig, Ellie, Terry, Liberty, Allie, Eli, and Holly J. By great tier, we have Sav, Marco, Paige, Claire, Declan, Anya, Drew, and Jay. By I Will Like You For Now, we have Manny, Mia, Spinner, Ilea, Fiona, Toby, JT, Adam, Alex, Hazel, Connor, Danny, Shantae, Jimmy, Jane, and Johnny. Why Just Why, we have Dave, Darcy, Emma, Ashley, Dylan, and Jenna. And by Out of Sight, Out of Mind, we have Bianca, Riley, Peter, Rick, and my least favorite character in the whole of Degrassi is Rick. Cool. So thank you guys so much for joining me on this video, because this little adventure of mine. I had fun doing this video. I can't wait to do this again when I finish Degrassi. I can't wait to finish Degrassi. We're gonna try and do Degrassi Next Generation and Next Class. Then I can really do a full on tier list of all of this. But I really did have fun doing this. If you are someone who loves film and TV discussion, be sure to subscribe and like the video. Who is your favorite character in Degrassi? Who is your least favorite character in Degrassi? If you're someone who didn't watch Degrassi, are you someone that is now convinced to watch the show? Let me know down in the comments. Also, I am taking on film requests, so if there is a movie you'd like for me to watch and review, go ahead and comment that down below. I will create a section for me down in the comments. But thank you so much, guys, for really joining me on this, and I really do hope you have a fantastic day further. We are currently at 156 subscribers. I'm aiming for 500. So again, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. But I think until next time, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!